Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. We got Jacob in Wisconsin here to talk some Packers this evening. Got an awesome show for you guys and gals. As a great weekend of football just wrapped up or is wrapping up as Notre Dame's about to kick off against Miami. We'll see if their national championship repeat, at least in the game, will come to fruition or not. Really excited to see. There's going to be a lot of pro players on both these teams, I believe, that you'll probably see in the NFL here real soon. But in terms of our show tonight, we're going to break down a little Jordan Love talk, dive into that right off the top of the hour. We're also going to do a little Packers-Lions preview. We'll be doing that all week, getting you ready, taking you all the way up to kickoff, obviously, on game day. We got a couple Patreon questions we'll hit, and then we're going to give away an autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card as well. Before we dive into that, let's get you guys to do the YouTube stuff for us. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are fans just like you in here talking Packers on the daily, doing pregame shows, postgame shows, film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you get notified every time we do go live. Gentlemen, how we doing today? Everybody doing all right?
Doing good. I see we got the beard with a new backdrop.
Good to have.
Jacob, you kind of look like you're in the witness protection program, though. You look like
I'm gonna figure it out, Tim.
You got one of those Milwaukee Tool flashlights or something?
I might need to get one of them. Yeah, I'm figuring it out.
You could borrow Emilio's, but it's probably stolen, so I wouldn't recommend that. You know what I mean? That's just how he rolls. So, but let's get into it, guys. Let's waste no time. We're going to try to do a somewhat short episode tonight. We'll see what happens. But that's what Blake B said here. Matt LaFleur about to put BTA on Kelvin Shepard, the new DC. So let's go ahead and begin with that.
BTA.
With this version right here, Tim.
Get over here!
Belt to ass. BTA. Know what I'm saying?
So we got us a new toy here this evening. But
if you have any doubt about Jeff Hafley's intensity when it comes to coordinating a defense, just look at that clip right there. Let's go.
Absolutely awesome, man. I'll tell you what else I'm excited about, and that's Jordan Love. I seen this came across Twitter. I think it was yesterday. Is Jacob Morley, one of the best follows on X in terms of for Packer fans, at Jacob Morley, said 3 quarterbacks in NFL history have posted 4,000 plus passing yards and 32 plus passing touchdowns in their first season with multiple starts. All right. Kurt Warner, Patrick Mahomes, and Jordan Love. Though that's the list. That's it. Pretty wild to think about. And again, what's crazy is Jordan Love, obviously battling through the injuries last year, still had a pretty solid year, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know many quarterbacks that could battle through a knee injury, an arm injury, all in the same year. He had a groin injury as well.
Yep.
And just continue to go out there and lead his team to 11 wins or 9 wins. Him as the starter, obviously missing the 3 games. But man, I'm really excited about Jordan Love here in the future. I want to get your all's take on that. How do y'all feel about stats like that? Is that something that you just kind of roll your eyes at, or do you? Anytime I see something happen, especially for like the first time, Tim, I'm like, okay, probably need to slow down a minute and check this out and see if this person, this player, whatever the topic is. Probably a little bit of a theme there, a running theme, if you will. But I don't know, man, that's good company. You're talking about 2 first ballot Hall of Famers that Jordan Love's in company with right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to Jacob Morley again, because, like you said, he's a great follow on X. Usually is one of the first to hit you with stats like this. And I don't disregard it, right? Maybe your gut instinct is to kind of, it's a stat thing, individual stats, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, like you said, rare air right here. You got a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. You've got another Super Bowl champion, likely first ballot Hall of Famer. And then you got Jordan Love, who's about to break out in 2025 and become a Super Bowl champion and a future Hall of Famer in his own right. So I think it's awesome to see those numbers, 32 passing TDs or more, over 4K when it comes to passing yards. I would anticipate we're going to see more of the same from Jay Money this year. A guy who had to play behind Aaron for a couple of years, a guy who kind of got cheated out of a lot of preseason action during the COVID years. A guy who got hurt his first year as a starter. We really didn't get to see much. I mean, 2025 is the year for Jay Money, in my opinion. Everything's in front of him right now. And I fully anticipate him to, eclipse the 4,000 mark and, 30 plus tutters this year for sure. Hopefully less than 10 picks too.
Yeah. Nick McSwain in the chat said, do y'all remember after we lost to the Eagles in the playoffs and LaFleur said 2/3 of the interceptions were because wide receivers ran routes incorrectly? That's another thing that came into play. And then you got to take into consideration the drops as well. Now, listen, Jordan wasn't always accurate, so he's got his share of the blame there. Some of those drops were because they were inaccurate passes, but I'm with you. I think that's a great point. As he points out here, Jacob, that obviously the receivers running the wrong routes played a little bit of a role in the numbers being down a bit last year as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that probably leads us to understand why they felt like Matthew Golden was a player that deserved a first overall pick or first round pick for the first time in quite a long time. And, looking at those stats, what's the line? Like there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. But those are pretty easy cut and dry stats right there that kind of show you that he's on a trajectory that not many people have started in their career. So I think it's a pretty darn good sign in my opinion.
Definitely. And when you look at his PFF grades last year, obviously battling through the injuries, 64, 69, 44, and then he goes on a bit of a run here, 72, 72, 74, 68, 73, 63, 77, had his best game in week 14 at Detroit, an 83.8, 66, 68, 72, 61, 54. Obviously did not finish the season on a positive note, but when you look at the overall PFF grades here career-wise, this is where it gets real interesting. I mean, you're talking about minimal snaps in 2022 with a 78. Then in 2023, he has that breakout year on 1,200 snaps, 83.6 with an 83.2 passer grade. And then, of course, in 2024, you've got a 75.8, even battling through the injuries that he dealt with, he still played 932 snaps. There's some people that seem to think that Jordan Love is injury prone. That dude, I think he's the farthest thing from it. The fact that he battled through those injuries last year, an injury prone quarterback would not have played through those injuries. He would not have. So what do you guys think about the PFF grades here? And how do you think he'll grade out this year? Because I'm honestly expecting him to get right up there around the 80 mark or eclipse the 80 mark again. And who knows, you might see a career high this year. Tim.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think 80 PFF grade is, right there where we'd like him to be. Kind of keeping an eye week to week at those passer ratings and things like that, like you say. But, there's some truth to the sentiment that, we're loaded up on the defensive side of the ball now. I think we're in, great hands when it comes to our DC and our position coaches, our personnel. So I think it gives, kind of to Dan Orlovsky's point earlier, gives the offense the ability to go ahead and let her rip, right? Go out there and hum that tater, push the ball, be a little bit more aggressive, because if you make a little mistake here and there, you've got a defense that's going to go out there and get the ball back for you. So I fully anticipate Jordan Love to, be fast and loose and feeling comfortable. More than one of the talking heads out there that, we hold their opinion near and dear has said that Jordan looks as good as he's ever looked in this offense when it comes to command of Matt LaFleur's playbook and what we're trying to do out there. So I think physically it's just going to be a matter of him staying healthy and, playing loose, playing free, and, humming that tater down the field, man. We got weapons on offense and defense. So I think Jordan's going to have a great year when it comes to the stats. I would think, on average, a 80 PFF grade or higher is, I think that's fully expectable this year for sure.
And anything over 70, Jacob, obviously is a good year in terms of PFF. What do you think his grade will be if he stays healthy this year, given, the Matthew Golden arrival, Christian Watson getting healthy, hopefully there around week 6 after the bye? What do you think, man?
Yeah, kind of like how Nick McSwain says. I think that it might be a rocky start. McSwain went on to say, to be honest, the start of the season is really an indicator of how the entire season is going to go. Takes like 4 games for the teams to get into their groove. I think that maybe is even more this year, just with the kind of limited practice time and the real game speed that he's had. And Jordan Love kind of seems like he does take sometimes a few weeks to maybe kind of find his groove. But there's just something special about this year where I would think that maybe by 6 or 7 games that he'd have a good solid 75 PFF grade. I'd hope it'd be higher. We could look up and he could be in the high 80s for all I can, tell from what's going on with this offense. But honestly, I'm going to give him a little slack to start the season off just because it's going to be a little rusty, I bet. And I'm not going to start overreacting either way. If he comes out in the first game and it's just a boat race, it's going to be great. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to actually probably swallow some humble medicine and, just really think that I think what Emilio said the other day about having that 4-week saturation, kind of taking it in chunks like that is a good way to kind of look at the progress of the season overall.
Yeah, I agree. And you look back here to 2023 where he went on that run starting in week 9, 83, 74, 65, 86, 91, 58, 66, 77, 90, 83, 92, and then wrapped up with the 54 there in the playoff game against the 49ers. So it's going to be fun to see how Jordan Love continues to improve as a quarterback here for the Packers. And this is one of those years where you're going to kind of look up and go, okay, man, what is this guy really made of, right? I think we can look back on this season and have a really, really good idea of what type of player he's going to be moving forward for sure. So anything else on Jordan Love, guys, before we move on here?
Yeah, he wears number 10 because he only throws dimes.
There you go. All right. I guess Jacob's out. So let's move it along here as we dive into the next topic. Well, let me get the super chat real quick. I was trying to hold off on it because it goes hand in hand with what we're going to talk about next. Badger Trio with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He says, Lions lost both their OC and DC. They might come out slow. I think there's a realistic shot that they take a pretty significant step back, to be honest with you, Trio. Now, there's pros and cons with new OC and new DC. Are they going to continue to do what they were doing, or do they plan on changing it up, right? And if the Packers have their work cut out for them this week when they're preparing. They've probably been preparing for several weeks now for the Detroit Lions, but they got to decide, do we game plan for what Aaron Glenn did on defense last year and what Ben Johnson did on offense? Or do we try to press into, okay, how will this change with the new OC who came, I think he was in-house. I want to say they went and got the DC, I believe somewhere else. He might've been hired in-house as well, but you got to take everything into account for sure. I think it's going to be a hell of a ball game, and we're going to dive into a little preview of it right now. Really, really excited to see both these teams get out on the field, though, come Sunday afternoon. What was it, 3:25 kickoff, I believe, Tim? I think we're going to have Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call. It don't get any better than that, man. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, you got to love it, man. Burlington, Wisconsin's own Tony Romo calling the game. You got to love it.
That's right. Jerry with the super chat. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate you so much. I'm just afraid Jordan won't be able to get into rhythm in the beginning of that first game. And that's a realistic concern. I think every team deals with that, Jerry, especially when you haven't played a lot in the preseason and you've got new targets, and the wide receiver room is banged up. That's another reason why they were so aggressive and decided to go get Micah Parsons, Tim, is they're kind of looking up going, okay, this receiving, we're probably going to start off a little slow on offense, which typically happens across the league anyway. Defenses typically have the upper hand for the first few weeks, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So I think Jerry brings up a good point here. I think the key, though, Tim, to avoiding what Jerry's worried about is protect the freaking football. Don't go out there and try to win it on every play. I heard Dan Orlovsky up. If you guys didn't see that video, I posted a Stephen A. Smith's reaction to Micah Parsons' trade, and then Dan Orlovsky's reaction. And Dan Orlovsky said to him, he was like, yeah, I think what this is going to allow Green Bay to do is be more aggressive on offense, because if you turn the ball over, it's not a big deal. You got an awesome defense to get it back. And I'm going, please, God, shut up. What are you talking about? What coach have you ever heard say, yeah, I'm excited about being aggressive on offense because if we turn the ball over, our defense is going to get it back for us? That's just not how coaches think, No,
I agree. But I agree with the sentiment too. Like, aggressive is kind of it's a loose term, right? It depends on how you look at that. I think to Jerry's point, having a little bit of fear that, Jordan might struggle to get in a rhythm a little early. And to your point that, so do a lot of guys week one, right? You're coming out of the gate, whether or not you had a full preseason or not. Getting your wheels underneath you kind of takes a few series before you feel like you're in a rhythm. But I would agree with Orlovsky's point to an extent, meaning, you can be aggressive on offense in a lot of different ways, right? That doesn't mean taking shot plays down the field every single time. Maybe we see a situation where we press into that run game early and we use that run game to set up our play action, our RPO game, feed the pass game off the run game early. And, you can still be aggressive without just taking shots all the time, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we kind of talked about that a little bit after he made that comment. I'm okay with coming out on a first down because you feel more confident in your defense and saying, all right, let's try to get them to load the box against Josh Jacobs and catch a one-on-one matchup to take a shot. That's great. But the way he made it sound was like playing reckless almost, that's just, crazy. There's a difference between being aggressive and being stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Exactly. Aggressive and reckless, right? Reckless is just dialing up shot after shot and letting that secondary camp out and pick you off all day, right? You got to mix it up.
Definitely. And again, Jerry, thank you so much for that super chat. We appreciate you. All right, so let's dive into a little bit of the preview here between the Packers and the Lions. Obviously, like we said, a 4:25 Eastern, 3:25 Central kickoff. It's going to be on CBS. It's going to be right there at Lambeau. Really, really, really excited to see if these teams truly are the 5th and 6th best team in the league, according to the Team Metric Power Ranking with PFF. They have the Detroit Lions ranked 5th, the Green Bay Packers ranked 6th. Now, when you look at the, get a little bit of feedback there, Tim. I don't know what they had a little static there. It's all good though. So when you look at the point spread, I want to say it opened up and the Packers were at 1 point, and then it went a little bit closer to bleeding back into a half point. It settled in at 1.5, and now it's sitting, according to this, the current spread, according to PFF, 2.5 point favorites for the Green Bay Packers. All right, so guys, this is going to be a pick-em game, is what it looks like, according to Vegas. The money line is plus 120 for Detroit, and the over/under is set at 47.5. That number right there is very interesting to me. I kind of feel like, you typically take the under early in the season, but I could also see it being something that if their defense struggles because they lost Aaron Glenn, and obviously they're missing 2 key interior defensive tackles as well. And, if that's something you're overly concerned about, then maybe you want to take the over there. It's just, I do have a lot of confidence in the Packers defense showing up. We're somewhat healthy there. I mean, I can't think of a significant injury on defense. Can you, Tim, for the Packers? I mean, let's think here a second. What other than Nate Hobbs, who's expected to play week 1, right? Yeah. Who else is banged up on defense? It seems like it's mostly offense, right?
Yeah, maybe Zane Anderson, right? Kind of a question mark. Depth guys, right? Omar Brown still kind of dealing with what he's dealing with, but yeah, defensively, I feel like we're as healthy as you want to be, I think, coming out of a preseason, training camp, things like that. And, we'll see. The good news is, our big dog in the back there, Xavier McKinney, is obviously good to go week 1, which is something we had a question mark on. So I would agree. I think some of the issues when it comes to the injuries are mostly on the offensive side of the ball for us.
Josh Martin with the super chat. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you, pal. I want to see more screens this year, dude. I'm all about the screen game. I'm all about the RPO game as well. Like, one of the things that I love the most in terms of a set where you can kind of play balanced offense, run, RPO. You can take shot plays. You can also work slip screens out of the backfield. You can work your Y screen to the tight end. I love the trips left, nub right look with the sidecar on the same side as the tight end. So you can kind of run towards the weak side of the formation, but also towards your trip set on the left. And there's a lot of things you can do out of that. You can play a little RPO game and run a bubble screen off the left side with the 3, with the 1 and the 2 being lead blockers. So when you come out in that set and they play an over front to the tight end side, okay, and you run weak side, well, that defender that's covering the 3 has got to make a decision. Do I want to play aggressive towards the box, or do I want to cover the 3? If they play aggressive towards the box, you got that bubble keyed up with a +1 hat count. And then if they play to the 3 and say, okay, we're going to really take that bubble away, well, now you just hand the ball off to the running back. And if they are in an overlook, you got them at a disadvantage there. Now, let's say that they play an under, thinking you're probably going to run weak side. If that's the case, you can always change the play, and that little quick pitch that Matt LaFleur likes to run from time to time. Just a little quick pitch out to the right. You can slip screen to the right as well if they start to bend in that direction. There's a lot of things you can do out of that set. So, Josh, I'm with you, man. I would love to see more screens, whether it's bubble screens, smoke screens, halfback slips. The Y screen last year to Tucker Kraft, Tim, if you'll remember on Chalk Talk.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome, man.
Absolutely. I'm with Josh, too, on this one. More screens, less jet sweeps, right? Let's pepper in a little bit more of the screen game. Especially considering the guys that we have that are, able to be dynamic, whether they're pass catchers or pass blockers, getting downfield. So for sure.
Yeah. And again, when you look at this whole setup here, the Packers are 2.5-point favorites according to the market. PFF has it much closer as 1-point favorites. And then when you look at the actual projection or win probability, I should say, 50.4% for Green Bay. So, I mean, this is as close to a pick 'em as you're going to find, according to PFF stat, of course. So, Badger Trio with the super chat. Thank you, Trio. Appreciate you. Would you two be into a Willis packages? I would not. I don't like that. I mean, here's how I always run stuff through the filter of my narrow-minded self here, as Mandy refers to me, the stick in the mud. Name a successful team that's ran dual quarterback packages. That's kind of
so quit asking.
That's how I run things through the filter, Tim. Like, when was the last Super Bowl team to do that? And how often did they do it? So I personally wouldn't want to see that trio, but I can understand the question. I can understand why someone would, because, man, Malik Willis does bring a little bit different element, dude. For the longest time, if not the entire year last year, Tim, he was according to GPS Next Gen Stats, he was the fastest clocked quarterback running the football, I think at 19 miles an hour, I believe.
I think, we know Tupac LaFleur is no stranger to getting cute on occasion, right? And he's not afraid to dial up something interesting and, keep the opponent on their toes. So I'm not opposed to a Malik Willis package on occasion. You file that into that part of your playbook, right? The gadget plays or the catch them sleeping. Let's split Jordan Love out at receiver and put Malik Willis under center or something and, see what the defense does. How do they react to that? I'm okay with that. But I think, going with a 2 quarterback approach, as like your part of your scheme, I'm with you, Clayton. I don't think you're going to find long-term success. And then you also run the risk of injuring not only your starter, but your backup quarterback in the process. So I think we're blessed to have Malik Willis as QB2. Arguably this guy could start on a lot of teams in the league, but he's our QB2. And I think you put Jordan out there and you run this offense. But, I mean, Badger Trio's got a point. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, right? The occasional razzle-dazzle, right? Put 2 quarterbacks out there. If anyone can do it, it's Malik Willis and Jordan Love. But on a regular basis, that 2-pronged approach, I don't agree with that, no.
Got it. Yeah, and I didn't even think of the point you made, Tim, that if you do have him out there running a little RPR and some read options, some zone read stuff, him being Malik Willis, and you get him hurt, boy, you're one injury away from the season really going down the crap tank, Yep. So I think that's a valid point too. But again, Trio, I don't think it's a silly question, man. I've thought about it too. I just, again, I can't think of another offense that's had a lot of success like that, especially in the modern day NFL for sure.
I mean, you talk about the old, what was that, New Orleans, Taysom Hill and, whoever the hell their quarterback was year to year, they kind of had that 2-pronged approach. But again, to your point, like they didn't really have sustainable success down the road.
Right. Yeah. Again, thank you for the super chat there, Trio. Andy Watkins with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, how much jet sweep are we trying this year? I have a love-hate relationship with jet sweeps, right? When they work, I love them. And when they don't, why are we being cute? That's what comes out of my mouth every time. The problem, the biggest problem I have with jet sweeps are when we do them on 4th and short.
Do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
When you do them on 4th and short, Tim, oh man, it's like, come on, but if we're not good enough to get a yard running straight forward, we don't deserve to win a ball game.
Yeah.
But when we lose or we stay trailing a team, especially a good team, if we stay trailing a good team by running a jet sweep on 4th and inches and losing 2 yards, I can't live with myself. Does that make sense? Like, it's like you beat yourself in that situation, you know?
And we get into those situations, though, because we talk about, a Matt LaFleur offense, the illusion of complexity, right? You want to have a lot of moving pieces, and really what you're going to do is you're going to try and get 2 yards going forward, but we're going to have a lot of movement, a lot of deception, the illusion of complexity. I think the problem has been in those situations that the illusion of complexity proves to be too complex. Right. And all it takes is one guy to miss or, not do his job on that play. And we've got a massive problem. You and I were kind of the ones last year screaming, if we need a yard, why are we running 4 yards laterally, before we go forward?
Yeah, there were some cases we ran 12 yards horizontally to try to pick up 2 yards. I'm going, what are we doing?
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, we got Josh Jacobs, we've got Emmanuel Wilson, we've got backs that, whether you got a lead blocker or not, you got to think Josh Jacobs is going to get you a yard when you need a yard. Why are we getting so fancy on a lot of these looks? So I would think there would hopefully be a slight reduction in the jet sweep looks in those situations. But hey, on the old 2nd and 7, running that joker and it opens something up and we get a shot play or something, I'm all for it. But yeah, the 3rd and short, the 4th and short, 4th and goal, my goodness, let's just pound the rock, get in the end zone, right?
No, I think it's very well said. And that's what I was going to say too. I was going to say 2nd and 8. You said 2nd and 7. So we're right there in the same ballpark. That's when you want to run that, where they're going, okay, they're not ahead of schedule yet, but they're one run away from being in a nice 3rd and short situation here. They're probably going to run the rock, and then you fire a little jet sweep off on them, and it's game on. I could see that, because in that situation, they're probably going to be looking to load the box a little bit and really key in on the backfield. And if everything truly is married up and looks the same, but with a jet motion in play, that's where things can get really, really nice. So, Andy, now to answer your question, Andy, I think we'll see more jet sweeps than we did last year. I felt like they got away from it a little bit last year. Again, the ones that stick out the most to me, though, were like we were talking about, the 4th and short, where it was like, what are we doing?
I agree with that too, that like your point that we might see it more because look at the weapons we have now. It's not just Jaden Reed or somebody on a jet sweep. I mean, pick your poison with this receiver room and running back room, right? I mean, there's any number of guys that are capable of running that. So I think that's valid to say that we might even see a little more. I just hope situationally we're seeing it when we want to see it, right?
Yes, that's the big thing, for sure. So again, Andy, thank you for that super chat, buddy. All right, so when we're talking about overall ranking here, according to PFF, Tim, they have Green Bay 6th and Detroit 5th. All right. If we go to defense, they have Detroit as the 12th best defense, Green Bay 7th best. And then the power ranking on offense, they have the Detroit Lions 2nd and the Green Bay Packers 8th. All right. Their average offensive snaps last year, Detroit had 68.8. The Packers had 65.4. So they have what is that? 3.4 more offensive snaps per game, essentially, Detroit did last year. Doesn't sound like much, but that might be the difference between field goal range or not, to be honest with you, to win a ball game at the end. Percentage of run plays, they ran the ball 45% of the time. We ran the ball 47% of the time. Obviously, that puts the passing play percentage at 54% for them, 52% for us. Now, when you're talking about EPA per run, they were slightly better than us at a positive 0.29. We were at positive 0.22, and they were slightly better than us in EPA per pass at a positive 0.42. We were at a positive 0.39. But keep in mind, they no longer have Ben Johnson, right? That's going to come into play big time.
Get ready to go.
We'll see exactly how well that offense adjusts in that regard. Now, when you look at the quarterback matchup here, Tim, Jared Goff finished last year with a 78.8. He was healthy. Jordan Love finishes with a 75.8, battling injury all year. His passer rating when clean, Jared Goff's was 120.3. Jordan Love's was 102.1. Passer rating under pressure, Jared Goff was 74.9. Jordan Love was 72.6. Big time throw percentage, though. Jared Goff only a 2.94. Jordan Love 3.24. Yeah. I mean, he led the league in completions of 20 yards or more, 20 or more air yards, I should say. Turnover worthy play. This will surprise you a little bit. Jared Goff actually had a slightly, and I mean slightly, higher turnover worthy play percentage at 3.25%. Jordan Love was at 3.24%. The power ratings here, Jared Goff at a 3.5, and they've got Jordan Love slightly better at a 4.0. So the power rating rank, they have Jordan Love as the 10th best quarterback and Jared Goff as the 13th best quarterback. I know it's a lot of information. We can scroll up or down or what have you. What do you think about everything we just covered there in terms of the preview here from a team standpoint?
I mean, just looking at that QB comparison between, Jared Goff and Jordan Love, I think, the passer rating when clean versus under pressure is kind of, something to kind of keep an eye on. I think a lot of us have been waiting for Jordan to kind of take that step when it comes to the clean pocket. I feel like sometimes when he is pressured and he does roll out, he's actually better. Sometimes we've had Jordan standing in that pocket. He's able to get to that second, third, maybe even fourth read on the progression. And then, he can get happy feet and maybe he has a throw sail on him. So I'd be looking for Jordan to, increase his passer rating in a clean pocket. I would hope that we give him more clean pockets this year. And then on the, the counter side of that point is Jared Goff under pressure. Looking at this Hafley defense and how we're going to get after the quarterback, Mr. Checkdown, right? You send that pressure all you want. Jared Goff's going to dump that ball out quick, and it's going to get out. He's not going to stand there and pat the ball, and we know he's not the most mobile quarterback in the league. So looking at the comparison heads up, yeah, it's very very negligible when you look at these numbers. I mean, it's pretty close. Clearly, Jordan Love being the guy that's kind of on the the rise, and Jared Goff kind of riding out the last couple of years of his career. But you're talking about two upper echelon quarterbacks in the NFC. Definitely the two best quarterbacks in the NFC North right now. I don't care what anyone says. Those are your top two QBs in the division until we see what happens this year. But I would be looking at the pressure rate or the passer rating clean versus under pressure between these two, especially in that week one matchup for sure. I mean, we've seen it, right? We've sent the dogs after Jared Goff and it's check down after check down, swing pass, whatever. And, he's rendering your blitz irrelevant. So it'll be fun to see how we scheme up against him here week one.
Yeah. One of the stats, too, that I remember being attached to Jordan Love the last 2 years was he doesn't take a whole lot of sacks. And you could credit the offensive line, obviously, but also his ability to prevent himself from being sacked is huge. Now, not at the detriment of throwing an interception. You would much rather take a sack than throw a pick, in my opinion. Now, it's all situational, and every now and again, you got to take those chances when the game's on the line. I got you. I understand that. But that's something else you could probably take into consideration here as well, is his ability to prevent those huge losses that put you behind schedule taking the sacks. So, that's kind of the overall team preview I wanted to hit on. I wanted to kind of give you guys the betting line again. The Packers right now are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is set in the market at 47.5 right now. The PFF projection has 49 as the total. So just keep that in mind. I was kind of feeling like maybe go with the over there. But again, you got to be careful early in the season. You never know how these things are going to play out. When you look at some of the important injuries for the Lions, you got McNeil. That's who we were talking about, guys. He finished with a 79.6 PFF grade last year, and he was 13th in win above replacement. And then you've got Decker, a tackle. He's questionable as it sits right now. 77.2 was his PFF grade last year. Malcolm Rodriguez is on the pup with the leg injury. He was a 74.4. Owuzu-Rike, I think is how you say it, another defensive tackle. 70.2 was his PFF grade last year. He's on the pup as well. Glasgow, center, is listed questionable at the moment, according to PFF, with the leg injury. Then you got Pascal, edge defender, is NFI, and then E. Turner, whoever that is, linebacker with the leg injury, he's on IR. None of those guys really had high PFF grades. We got to take into consideration too, Tim. They're losing their great center, right, who just retired. So, Ragnow retired. So that's something that's going to make them a little weaker in the middle. Don't get me wrong. They've got one of, if not the best offensive lines in the entire league. So if there's a team that can afford that, can absorb that loss, it's someone like Detroit, I believe. But,
Exactly. You go from Ragnow to Glasgow, right? He's questionable. If he's not a go, don't sleep on the rookie Tate Radledge. Tate Radledge was a guy that, we looked at during the draft, and a guy that's capable of playing kind of anywhere on that interior. I think they got him at right guard, or he's a guard right now. But if they struggle at center, it wouldn't surprise me if they kick Radledge over to center as well.
definitely. All right, man. So there is your injury report, early injury report, I should say. We haven't got the official injury reports out yet, but that's how the lines look. Now, when you look at Green Bay's side, listed as questionable, we know this is going to be upgraded to probable as he's ready to go. Xavier McKinney, 84.7 last year, 11th in WAR ranking, obviously was tied for the league lead in interceptions. You're going to get, that's another battle you're going to get here, Tim, is arguably the two best safeties in the entire league. Kyle Hamilton might be better than both of them. He's definitely in the conversation. But you get Xavier McKinney and Kirby Joseph, right, who are going to be going at it again here early on. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But McKinney is going to be good to go. There's no doubt in my mind there. Zane Anderson is questionable. He finished with an 80.8, but you guys know it was minimal snaps. Jaden Reed is going to play unless he has a setback in practice. We know he's dealing with that Jones fracture in his foot. And then Christian Watson's on the pup. Aaron Banks is questionable. Dontavion Wicks is questionable. Nate Hobbs is questionable. The only player that I think will not play here, Tim, I know won't play, is Christian Watson. Everybody else, I fully expect them to be ready, maybe with the exception of Zane Anderson, who's arguably our third to fourth string safety.
Yeah, I would agree with that, right? And there's no reason to rush him back, right? And even we could say the same thing about Aaron Banks with that, whatever he's got going on in the midsection there. We had heard back, we had heard, pec, abdominal, whatever's going on with a torso injury. I feel like we've got some flexibility there, whether that's maybe moving Jordan Morgan around, getting him some reps too. So of all these guys, yeah, I think Scoot's the only guy we know for sure is out. I would anticipate a lot of these guys would be upgraded to probable going into the game.
Yeah, we got a super chat here from Celestial Prophet 20. Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Says, been seeing a lot of NFC North teams downplaying this trade. Like if Micah was going to them, they would have a different opinion. It will be great. All right, so let me close this out real quick. I want to pull up a tweet since you brung that up, because this was hilarious to me. I can't remember who it was that brought it to my attention, but this is a perfect example, Tim, of what they were just talking about. When you get, it was Prison Matt. You remember Prison Matt used to jump in here all the time, right? So he throws this tweet out, and I had to run it down, of course. But so this guy, Caleb Williams Fan Club, right? Look at this tweet he's got. Let's start right here. Look at the tweet. Paying $47 million for a player that's never had more than 14 sacks in a season and is a locker room cancer is a bad move, right? That was 9 hours ago.
Says the fan of the team that drafted this guy? Really?
Yeah. Now look at this, though. Let's scroll back up. Look on August the 2nd, me when the Bears trade for Micah Parsons. So Prison Matt said, this you? So obviously Prison Matt running down the receipts. But that's exactly what Celestial Prophet's talking about. It's just like the Cowboy fans, right? They were all about Micah. You guys, you can't afford Micah. You won't get Micah. Jerry's not letting Micah go. It's going to take 5 first-round picks to get Micah Parsons out of Dallas. And then the second he's traded, he's a locker room cancer. He's always hurt. It's amazing. He's injury prone, but he's only missed 4 or 5 games in his entire career so far in 4 seasons. But now all of a sudden Dallas fans think he's injury prone. So it is funny, Celestial Prophet, how the turntables, right? So, and again, if Detroit had gotten him, I honestly thought Detroit was going to make a run for him. I told a couple people in the chat of mine when it finally leaked out that, all right, Jerry is shopping him. I think it was like the day before we traded for him. When that finally released, I went, watch Detroit jump up here and try to grab him. The thought of Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons on the same field together is absolutely terrifying. And then lo and behold, we turn around and we dump some cap for the future and getting rid of Kenny. And you've got Micah Parsons lining up across from another top 10 edge defender in Rashawn Gary. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm just glad he didn't go to anybody else in the North. But yeah, agree, Celestial Prophet. It's funny how they change their tune when things don't go their way for sure. So Let's see here. Christopher S. with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He says, would you rather start the year 1-2 with a win versus the Lions, or 2-1 with a loss to the Lions? Me, I would rather start the season with 2-1 with the loss to the Lions, because I don't care about whether we win rivalries or not. The only thing that matters to me is what gives us the best shot to win a Lombardi. That's it. And we know how this league is. You may come down to the end of the season. We may run off 13 wins this year, get back to the 13 winning ways that Matt LaFleur has made us so used to, right? Gotten us so used to. That may happen. But it also might come down to winning 10 and you're in, and I want as many wins as possible. Tim, I know you absolutely hate the Lions, so you might go in the opposite direction here. But what do you think, man? Would you rather start the year 1-2 with the win over the Lions, or would you rather be 2-1 but having lost to the Lions?
I'm the wrong person to ask this question, because we're 4-0 going into the bye week. I've been saying that for the better part of the last 2 months. I still believe that. We got a short week to start the season. 2 tough NFC opponents to get things started, but I really do. I believe we're going to go 4-0 into the bye. So 1-2 or 2-1's not even in my vocabulary, but it all starts with a week 1 boat race of Detroit for sure.
There you go.
And I see the Lions fans in the chat talking like they always do. That's all you guys can do is talk, because you haven't won anything ever.
I was letting him hang out too until he said F Green Bay. So I'm like, all right, that's enough.
That's right.
I would love it.
Wonder if that's the guy I almost put hands on a couple years ago at the game. I'm not sure. Maybe it is.
I would love it if fans from other teams came in here. They're welcome. But when you get in here and you can see him start, he was getting frustrated because nobody was acknowledging him. So he had to ramp it up. But anyway, Chris, thank you for the super chat. King Trom with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, love watching these Cowboy fans cope. Go Pack, go. Yeah, #1. They are too, man. It's kind of been, I don't feel sorry for them at all because they're so brash about it. But it's definitely embarrassing. It's like that secondhand embarrassment. It's like, oh, boy, it's tough to see y'all acting like that, knowing what you were saying just the other day. Thank you for that super chat, Tron. Appreciate you. Celestial Prophet, been a member for a month. Gary and Parsons on the ends is what I'm waiting on. Amen to that. And we're going to do a little bit deeper PFF preview tomorrow and show you guys the actual lineups, our offense against their defense against our offense, all that good stuff. We'll show you 11 personnel. We'll show you 12 personnel, base, nickel, all that stuff. We'll dive into that a little bit deeper tomorrow as it's game week. I can't believe it's already game week. Absolutely wild. So
fired up, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, appreciate the support there, Prophet. Appreciate you so much. All right, let's hit these Patreon questions real quick, Tim. I've been kind of neglecting them. Some of them we already kind of had conversations about, and I forgot to mark. But let's just jump into it, guys. This is another way that you can support the show, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. These work just like super chats, okay? So we try to get to them in decent time and cover them on the show. But you guys know it was an absolute hectic week here with the Micah Parsons trade. Chris in the Patreon group said, was listening to Gruden's NFC North preview. He mentioned LVN's quarterback pressure rate being less than 10%. Is he talking over his first 2 years total? I thought I remember him being like 14% or something last season. I should probably bite the bullet and pay for PFF or something. Any recommendations? NFL Plus. I prefer NFL Plus over PFF. PFF is like, listen, it's a great tool. I love to use it to cross-check, though.
Yeah.
Like, watch the tape, Chris. If you get NFL Plus, you can watch every snap, right? From the end zone cam, all 22, the broadcast copy, what have you. Yeah. I always challenge people. They're like, hey, I want to start studying tape. What would you advise me to do first? The first step that I had, I committed to watching every single snap that the Green Bay Packers had 3 times. That's what I did. People go,
I found myself doing that too, Clayton. Like you said, like watch that tape and then go to PFF and kind of see how the grades kind of correlate with what you saw on film.
Yep, absolutely, man. So that's the way that works, man. I would go with NFL Plus, and the reason I would go with NFL Plus is because you've got the tape, you've got the stats, Chris, and you can literally click on the statistic, whatever stat it is, a sack, a pressure, whatever it is. And it'll pull up the tape immediately and show you, here's that play. The problem I got with PFF, and I've been very vocal about this, is it's like, trust me, bro. That's all. That's when I look at their stats, it's just trust me, bro. They can't back it up with a timestamp or anything like that. It's just simply, here's the way we graded it, take it or leave it, as opposed to NFL Plus and NFL Pro, where it's like, all right, you can actually go watch those individual stats. And you may disagree with how the stats were marked, right? You may look up and go, I don't think that's a pressure. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But at least watch the tape, right? And that's the problem I have, Tim, is like, especially people on Twitter, they will throw out numbers like, Rashawn Gary is this bad defensive player. And I'm going, you got that from PFF, didn't you? Cool. Well, why don't you hop over to NFL Pro and actually watch tape?
Or you got it from your own eyes because you watched the game one time and then that was it. And then you just, looked at stat lines and numbers, but you never really watched snap to snap what was going out there, on the field. So I agree.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love how this Detroit fan has wasted 15 minutes of his time creating 3 different Google accounts so he could get in here.
There's no Detroit Lions podcast going into week 1. They're not fired up for their week 1 ass whooping they're about to receive at Lambeau Field. They're not talking about matchups.
That's what always cracks me up is like, I sit back and think sometimes, I'm like, are there Packer fans that go into other NFC North rival podcasts and comment? Like, I barely have time to watch stuff on the Packers. How do you have time to go into other fan base YouTube shows? I've never understood that. Twitter, it's easy. People just tag me and stuff, go look at this knucklehead, and I just retweet that back out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but jumping in another team's live chat, another stream like that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's strange for sure, man. All right. Next comment here. Moist Butter says, since our kicker's boring now, can we get some long snapper talk? So
Matt Orzich, that's your long snapper for the future, right?
That's a pretty damn good problem to have, Tim, that there's no longer any reason to talk about the kicker, Yep. Pretty cool. So Moist Butter also goes on to say a defensive front of Van Ness, Wyatt, Brooks, Gary, followed by Parsons, Cooper, Quay, mind blown. That's the exciting part, is if you do go to your 4-3 base against 12 and 21 personnel, and you have those 4 out there, Van Ness, Wyatt, Brooks, and Gary, and then be able to put Parsons on the line of scrimmage as an extra backer, which I still call it an edge defender in a jam front, but that's really, really exciting to think about because Parsons, man, it was fun watching that tape. It was, he is as elite of a speed rusher as you'll ever see. Like, he is a speed rusher to a T, and he can still play with power. Don't get me wrong, but man, there's nobody else in the league that rushes the quarterback that's got the speed he has. Yeah. There's just no doubt about it. Speed
and FBI too. We talked about the FBI when we were looking at some of the tape on him. Just having that kind of sixth sense for football. And I don't know how you teach that, right? I don't know how you teach feel and instinct and those kind of attributes. And yeah, you combine it with the athleticism and the speed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, definitely. Jay Cole says, now that the dust has settled, I'm sad about trading Kenny, man. I understand that we got Micah, but I hate losing Kenny. Do you think we will sign Christian Wilkins? I heard rumors that the Packers signed Christian Wilkins. I'm going, how did I not hear about this? And I go on Twitter, and it's just a bunch of Packer fans saying they want Christian Wilkins. I like what we got. Christian Wilkins, guys, he got kicked off that team, essentially, is what happened. So you got to take that into consideration, Now, it got leaked out that that something that he had done was he kissed somebody on the head or something in the locker room. It pissed him off. But then we found out later that he was doing really, really strange stuff in the locker room. You can find the tape. I don't know how to say this to not be gross or sound like a weirdo, but you can find tape of him on the football field with players on the ground, him sticking his finger where it don't belong. Multiple occasions. Yeah, I think you have. So, I don't know, man. I think I would rather have Carl Brooks and Devontae Wyatt in the middle, bring on Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse. And if you have to kick Gary inside occasionally or LVN in there, that type of stuff, I would much rather see that personally. Coach Lynn says we're good with Brooks, Wooden, Stack, and Brinson. And you don't have to overpay for Christian Wilkins if you keep it that way as well. So, now it was more than that, Cole. Cole said grabbing ass, basically. It was – no, that's second base. This was he was rounding third and heading for home. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit different level there for sure. So Jim H says sounds like Don Burn. All right. So yeah,
put
for
that
me,
name in my mouth right there.
For me personally, Jay, It's a no for me on Christian Wilkins unless it's a vet minimum, where if he does get in here and act like a weirdo, you can just kick him off the team. No problem. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So definitely don't want to be tied up there. Holmes shared this. Tim, I laughed my rear end off at this, man. If you get a chance to watch it, go pull up that link. Cowboys fan wife records his crash out after the Parsons trade. Oh, it is glorious, man. Next one, Andy Monday says, how many really, truly dominant pass rushers are there in the NFL? If it's under 10, then fewer than 1 in 3 teams has only one of what we just got. That's clearly not easy to get, and Goody got him. If it was easy to get, we'd have him already, and so would 20 other teams, but they don't have a single pass rusher like that. They are all behind the Packers. Now, go Pack, go. I think it's a fair point. My cutoff would have been the 3 first-round picks, right? We got in there with 2 first-round picks and a guy we're getting rid of anyway. That's why I like it. But, Andy, I think there is a walking away point. I'm sure you would agree with that. Yours might be a little bit higher compensation than mine. But, yeah, I agree with everything you said there, man. There's no other Micah Parsons, Tim, in the league right now. And, again, that doesn't mean that he's the best pass rusher. That doesn't mean he's the best edge defender. It just simply means there's no other pass rushers in the league that has his elite agility and speed to rush with speed off the edge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you can, wish in one hand, crap in the other, see which one fills up quicker, right? You can take your early draft picks and hope you draft the next Micah Parsons in the next couple of years, but clearly guys like him don't grow on trees, right? So I think we're in a good position right now, and I think for what we gave up, certainly, kind of proves why a lot of those Cowboys fans are kind of PO'd right now. They feel like they got rolled over by Gangster Goot and the Packers, and I would agree with them for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. All right, so AZ Marky Mark says defense wins championships, and Goody just moved ours into the top 5. What would be a top 5 defense? I would have put us last year, Tim. We were second in run defense. We were like 8th in pass defense, 7th in pass defense, somewhere around that range. Scoring defense, we were right around top 5. I feel comfortable saying that we have everything in place to be a top 5 defense. What do you think, man?
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that, especially when you look at the staff, right? We talk about the personnel, but look at the scheme and look at the coaches and the staff that we've been building these last couple of years. I think year 2 in a Hafley scheme with the leadership that we have between, the guys in the front, the middle, and the back end. I mean, you feel really good. Big shout out to, DA, Coach Ansley, on the defensive side of the ball with the passing game. And then, you've got Coach Ogabasi, Coach Covington. Man, we're in a good spot this year, guys. We really are.
No doubt. Damon Redwine in the Patreon group says, why do I keep seeing the Commanders ranked ahead of us? It's crazy that nobody seems to care that 11 of Washington's 12 wins came against teams that had less than a 30% win rate combined. Don't forget that 12th win came against an Eagles team that was up 14-0 after 7 minutes, and Hurts was knocked out of the game with the concussion. My preseason hot take is that the Commies missed the playoffs this year. So there you go. There's his hot take. I'm still pretty
Playoffs?
I'm still pretty high on the Commies. I love that you call them the Commies, by the way. I'm still pretty high on because Jaden Daniels is the truth. And listen, we said the same thing about
and Bobby Wagner is the only guy in the NFL that ages in reverse, right?
Right.
This guy gets younger every year.
Yeah, and I said last year we were expecting CJ Stroud to have a great year. He hit the sophomore slump. There's a chance that there's definitely a chance Jaden Daniels hits that. Now I feel like CJ Stroud, in my opinion, never showed the level of play at the NFL level that obviously Jaden Daniels did last year, but sophomore slumps are a real thing. So that tied in with what he pointed out about maybe beating some lesser opponents, which you guys know I don't talk a lot of that because I think that's cherry picking. Not that Damon's doing it in this specific situation, but you'll hear about strength of schedule going into the season. We'll probably cover it a little bit too. That don't make a hill of beans because you can look at the strength of schedule before the season, and then at the end of the season, everything's completely changed. And now by the time the new season starts, everything's changed again.
Yeah. And everything we're basing this on going into week 1 is all off of last year, right? I mean, let's be honest. And then looking at, some of the changes, with teams going into this season, but I don't think it's unfair to think that maybe Washington and Daniels hits a little bit of a slump, but I don't think they're going to be a dumpster fire. You gotta account for that team. And hey, we all know how often can you reinvent yourself? We've got enough on tape from last year of Jaden Daniels escaping pressure in the pocket and lighting teams up, including a Hail Mary dime to embarrass the Chicago Bears last year. I'm sure we all remember that one. That was a thing of beauty. But I think year to year, it's all about how you can reinvent yourself. And despite what teams have, given you on film, you're able to reinvent yourself and, create unscouted looks. We were talking about that with Jeff Hafley, right? Oh, year 2 in the Hafley system. And the first words out of Coach Hafley's mouth is, hey, we're going to reinvent what we're doing here. We're not going to get predictable. We're going to do new things. We're going to stay fresh and, not get into a situation where teams can just, watch tape on you and then go out and, execute. So It'd be fun to watch.
Holmes MD1 in the Patreon group says Clayton, Brooks and Wooden. I think he's saying Clayton, Brooks and Wooden. He's not saying I'm in the trenches with him. God forbid that happen, right? Brooks and
get
Wooden.
Out there, Clay. You still got it, man. Come on now.
Yeah. I got it all right. I got it. I need to be up there. Somebody made a comment about Social Security and the Commanders players. I'm right there with them. I'm on the cusp, but there it is. Ron Samble. Commies had 15 guys collecting Social Security. I'm right on their heels, Tim. I promise you. So Brooks and Wooden will play a lot of 1-0 tech. They will roll in the youngsters. Stack is going to be the grave digger by the end of the season. Man, that's a bold statement there. But I will say this: Carl Brooks, in my opinion, is your 1 tech. I think that's what they're going to do. And I know some people were concerned that he might be a little undersized for that role. Guys, we're not talking about a 1 tech and a 34 front. These guys aren't playing 2 gaps. They're playing 1 gap. That's what Carl Brooks is really, really good at, So, again, this preseason, Tim, the preseason grades and what we've seen from Carl, kind of looked like he had a good camp. He's taking the next step. That could be a mirage once the real bullets start flying, right? But as it sits right now, I feel good about Brooks in the 1, Wyatt in the 3. And then if you want to throw Wyatt into the 1 and let Brooks get some one-on-one situations in the 3, I think you can do that as well. Although we would all agree that's definitely not Wyatt's strong point for sure. So
no, I agree 100%. And I think there's truth to what you're saying, because I don't think this Packers team, regardless of the contractual and age discrepancies when it comes to Kenny Clark, I don't think we move on from him, so quickly, especially after losing TJ Slayton to free agency. If you're not confident in guys like Devonte Wyatt and Carl Brooks, I don't think you give up a piece like Kenny Clark, regardless of who you're going after. So I think the fact that they were, willing to include him in that trade package to bring Micah in, that's great. But it says a lot about, Devonte Wyatt, Carl Brooks, and really not Stackhouse, how they feel early on. We know he's a beast out there, a little rough around the edges, UDFA guy, but I think they're going to work him in pretty nicely. And, you got to remember, you can't just snap your fingers and, all of a sudden make everyone perfect, right? It takes time to build a team, like you always say, right? Building a team, not collecting talent. So lots to look forward to with that D-line group this year.
No, it's huge, man. It's huge to have that continuity and everything in between. And the reality is 90% of the games on NFL Sundays are decided by just a handful of plays. Some cases, 1 play will decide it, not meaning the play at the very end, but there was 1 key play that went one way or the other that swung the win-loss ratio. So, it's I love it, man. The NFL is king. There's no doubt about it. If you guys would do me a quick favor, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I know we got a bunch of people in here watching, and it helps more than you know. Just hitting that like button helps tell YouTube, hey, these guys don't suck that bad, and it recommends the video to other people. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. And thank you all for hanging out with us this evening. Joseph in the chat said, Clay's contract breakdown video sealed the deal on this trade being a grand slam. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Joseph. And again, the goal isn't to do those contract talks and look how smart I am. Hopefully I left enough of a disclaimer out there to say, hey, this doesn't mean the numbers are going to be 110% accurate here, but you can see the purpose of that video was to show you the roadmap that Goody's driving on right now. Like that, he's literally laid out a roadmap for the next 3 years of how the window's wide open and Micah Parsons' cap hit is so low that you've got an opportunity to really press in and go on a 3-year run. And what's cool about that is the way the contract's structured, with the addition of the option bonus that nobody truly knows exactly what's embedded there. But it looks to me like even after those 3 years, you can kind of reset and go on another run. Everything's in place. I just love how Goody and Russ Ball structured that contract for sure. But glad you enjoyed that, Joseph. Appreciate you, buddy. Tim, you ready to give away a card, man?
Let's do it, man. Let's get somebody hooked up.
Yeah, I said card, not car. Somebody went, "Oh, he's giving away a card." No, it's not a
Yeah,
card.
we're giving away a 1989 Ford Pinto. That's what we're giving away.
All right, so this is your first time tuning into PTA. One of the ways we give back to those who are supporting the channel is we do random giveaways. We had a bunch of awesome listeners that donated memorabilia to the show, and I'll actually go out, and when I buy memorabilia, if I get a real good deal on stuff, I'll pick up extra memorabilia just so we can do random giveaways and give back to those who are supporting the channel here. So if you're a member of our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, or you're a member here on YouTube, we put everybody's name on the wheel and spin it and give away random prizes. So this week we're giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card. Okay, autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card. Somebody in the chat, give me a number between 1 and 10.
1
right.
for Micah Parsons. Let's go. J. Cole's got it in right away. Let's do it.
And now everybody's going to say this is rigged. You ready for this? So we'll do it, though. We'll go once. All right. So you see, we're going to shuffle this thing one time. Bang. All right. Here we go. We're going to spin it. Whoever it lands on wins an autographed Lucas Van Ness card. Here we go.
Big money, no whammy. Big money, no whammy. Hopefully it's J. Cole because he picked number 1. Let's see.
The winner of the LVN card is A. McCray. That sounds like a special agent or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, right.
Special Agent McCray. All right. So A. McCray, come forward and get your prize, an LVN autographed rookie card. I will look on Patreon and see if he's in there and shoot him a DM if he's in there. If not, if you're a YouTube member, shoot me a text message, 865-658-5824 if you are a McCray. All right. So there you go. There is the winner of the LVN rookie card. Tim, you got anything else, man, before we get off here? I know Miami jumped up to an early lead, 7-0 over Notre Dame right now. So we got to get out here in the rain and watch this game unfold.
Me no likey that, right? That's not a good start. Come on,
Yeah.
Irish, get it together.
Definitely. So hopefully everybody has been enjoying the extra content. I've really been trying to churn out extra content during the day. When I'll get just a break, I'll throw an extra video out and maybe something that's on my mind. It's getting good feedback. So hopefully everybody isn't just trying to be overly nice and they're actually enjoying the extra content. The numbers are going crazy. The channel is, man, I can't thank y'all enough. We've officially busted into the upper echelon of the algorithm. Over the last 28 days, we're over 500 new subs. So the channel is officially at that point where it's just blowing up. The watch time is through the roof. The support, I mean, you've seen the super chats tonight. You guys and gals are absolutely awesome. So thank y'all so much. We couldn't have gotten to this point without y'all. And we're going to continue to grow the channel and put out content on a daily basis. So really excited for the rest of the week, Tim. Tomorrow, we will dive into the offensive and defensive PFF previews. We kind of gave everybody a global look. Here's where the market sits tonight. And really, really excited to dive into this game a little deeper. You got anything else before we wrap up, man?
No, ready for tomorrow. Getting into the breakdown. It's going to be great. And we're almost there, guys. Sunday will be here before you know it, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, so special shout out, Badger Trio, Jerry. We got Josh Martin, Badger Trio again, Andy Watkins, Celestial Prophet, Christopher S., King Tron, Celestial Prophet being a member for a month. Thank y'all so much for supporting the show tonight with your super chats. We appreciate you more than you know. And then a special shout out to Eric Sutherland who says Don Burr sleeps with his boxers on backwards. I think we all know what that means. So that's it, guys. We're out of here. If you would, please hit that like button, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified every time we go live. And don't be afraid to share this with a fan. We greatly, greatly appreciate that. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live, taking you giving you all the updates on Packers lines as we inch closer to game day. Everybody have a great night. Tim, thank you for your time. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go.
There we go. We out.
Nice.
We out.
Bye, guys.